Good morning, students. In today's video we will be discussing about change of state of matter. Now the question is it possible that is it possible to change the states of matter? That means if anything is present in the solid state, can we change it to liquid? Or if it is in liquid state, is it possible to change it into gaseous state, or vice versa? Then let's see. Here there are two physical quantities, temperature and pressure. These are the two physical quantities that can help us to change the arrangement of the particles, the arrangement, the spaces, the geometry that they have formed by their arrangement. It is possible for us to alter temperature and pressure of that object, of that matter, and we can change its state. And this is all because the arrangement of the particles is changed. Arrangement of particles is changing as we are changing the temperature as well as pressure. Now see how these two things are affecting it. Temperature, when we are providing heat, when we are allowing that substance to get heated up, at that time the provided heat will increase the kinetic energy of the particles. And when the kinetic energy is changing, there will be movement. That means motion of the particles will take place. When they start moving, when they start showing the vibrations, then at that time the spaces that are present between the particles will also change, thus leading to the change of state of matter. And when we are using the another physical quantity, that is pressure, then here the property compressibility is used. With the help of pressure, again we are compressing it. Due to this compression, the spaces that are present between the particles of that matter will start arranging themselves. Due to that arrangement, again the geometry changes. The arrangement of the particles changes, thus leading to the change of state of matter. So this is how these two physical quantities, temperature and pressure, can be used to change the states of matter. It can be either from solid to liquid, liquid to gas, or vice versa. I should put a two-sided arrow mark actually. It should be like this. Right? So here by using these two things we are changing the state of matter. Let's perform an activity, then you will be able to understand it. For performing this activity, let's consider the matter H2O, which is nothing but hydrogen oxide. This chemical substance, this matter, exists in all three states. That is solid. If it is in the solid state, then we are calling it as, yes, you are right, it is ice. Then if it is in the liquid state, we call it as water, the most important thing for our survival. And the last one, if it is in the gaseous state, then we call it as water vapors. So we are going to use this one. We are using H2O in different states so that we can convert its state from one form to another. So let's perform our activity. I'll show you how we or what we have to do here. We will take a container, a beaker, and we'll put ice cubes into it, some of the ice cubes. Alright. Now place a stirrer, glass stirrer, glass rod will be sufficient here. Put some ice cubes, place a glass rod into it so that we can stir it while heating. Then with the help of a clamp, place a thermometer. So here we are taking a beaker, we are taking some ice cubes, we have put it into that beaker, then place a glass rod so that we can stir it while heating. Then with the help of a clamp, we have placed a thermometer. Here we are using the thermometer to note the temperature, at what temperature the change can be observed. Then here we have a Bunsen burner to supply the heat to this material, to the ice cubes. Once we start heating this one, right, note down the readings. Then as soon as you start heating here, then what happens here is this heat gets supplied to the container, then to the ice cubes. By using this heat here, the particles that are present inside these ice cubes, the water molecules that are there, and the force of attraction that is present between them starts weakening. It becomes weak, and that is happening because this heat that we are providing here, it has started, or it has provided extra energy to the particles, due to which their kinetic energy is rising. And when the kinetic energy increases, the vibrations of the particles also increases, and these vibrations, as I have told you already, the movements results in greater spaces. Thus slowly, as the temperature rises, the particles here starts showing movement, and the faster the movement, more will be the space between the particles, thus resulting in the conversion of this solid ice cubes into liquid water. And here, while getting converted into the liquid form, you will observe that once the melting process, once the conversion of the solid ice into water has started, there will not be any rise in the temperature here. You will not find the rise in the temperature. There will be no increment in the readings of the thermometer. Why is it so? What is happening? We'll see here. First, let us note that the process that is observed here, wherein a solid substance is getting converted into liquid substance. When heat or temperature is provided here, we call this process as melting process. What is it called? Melting process. So any solid getting converted into liquid will be called as, that process will be called as melting, or it is also called as fusion process. Melting or fusion. And the next thing, that is the temperature. As I said, to note down the temperature while the changes are taking place, and there was no rise in the temperature once the melting process has started. So the temperature at which a solid melts and becomes liquid at the atmospheric pressure, so then it will be called as its melting point. We are pointing out the temperature here, the temperature at which this solid is becoming liquid, and there is no rise in the temperature after that. Then that temperature we are calling as melting point. And see, here we are carrying out these activities at a constant atmospheric pressure. There should not be any you can say drastic climatic changes. Melting point, let's note the definition here. It is the temperature at which a liquid the temperature at which a solid melts to become liquid at atmospheric pressure. So this is the definition of melting point. Another thing that we have seen in this activity is that the temperature wasn't rising once this melting process has started. So where is that heat going? We haven't stopped heating that one. We haven't stopped the heat supply. The temperature is continuously being supplied there. But still there is no rise in the thermometer. There is no rise in the reading of the thermometer. So why is it? And where is that heat going? So then the phenomena of latent heat comes here. Latent heat. The term latent, it is a Latin term which means hidden. Here latent heat refers to the hidden heat. In the beginning of the activity, I have told you that this supplied heat, the temperature, the heat that we are supplying here is used to break the forces of attraction. The forces of attraction that are present between the particles of that ice, right? And the same heat, whatever we are supplying, once it has reached its melting point, then the continuously supplied heat is again used to break all the forces of attraction that are present between the remaining particles of that matter. Hence, even if continuous heat supply is there, there will be no rise in the temperature, because this heat is getting uniformly distributed to all the particles in order to break these forces, so that particles can become more free and can show greater vibrations, and thus the process of converting a solid state into liquid state can be completed. Then again we will come across another definition, that is latent heat. Latent heat of fusion. We are calling it as fusion because, as I have told you already, melting is also referred as fusion. So the latent heat, the hidden heat, when the process of fusion is carried out, when the melting process is carried out. So the definition goes like this. It is the amount of heat energy that is required to change 1 kg, we are using a standard form here, 1 kg of a solid into liquid at atmospheric pressure, at its melting point. That means the melting point must be reached, then only you can calculate the latent heat. Why is it so? Because when the energy is distributed equally to all the particles, then only the forces of attraction can be broken down and whole of that material can be converted into liquid state. So that's how we have seen how solid can be converted into the liquid state in this video. So let's do a revision here for whatever we have studied in today's video. We are focusing on change of state of matter, which is possible with all three states: solid to liquid, liquid to gas, and vice versa. Next we have the two physical quantities that can be used for converting the state of matter, that is temperature and pressure. Both these physical quantities affect the kinetic energy and the spaces present between the particles, due to which the arrangement of the particles will change and hence the state will also change. Here for being able to know the change of state of matter very easily, we are using the very common substance, common matter, that is H2O, hydrogen oxide. This is present in all three possible states. If solid, it will call it as ice, liquid, water, gaseous state, water vapors. Then we are performing an activity here where we have used ice cubes. We are melting it by supplying heat with the help of a Bunsen burner. We will observe that the solid ice cubes are getting converted into liquid water, and we are calling this process as melting or fusion. So what will be the melting point? So it is any temperature of that liquid when you will observe that the provided temperature is capable of converting the solid into its liquid form with constant atmospheric pressure. Then we have come across the latent heat, which is nothing but which means hidden. It's a Latin term used for hidden. So this latent heat is used to break the forces of attraction present between the particles. We have the definition for latent heat of fusion here again. Here we are using 1 kg as the standard quantity so that we can calculate it for different materials. So in the next video we will be discussing about the change of liquid state into the gaseous state.